assembly between deputy governors and governors is actually something that we all need to ponder. I remember when we were elected in 1999, there are some states that the relationship between the elected governor, those are governor-elect and deputy governor-elect, become frosty even before the inauguration. So to me, I'm thinking that National Assembly should look at it, or Nigerians, it's beyond the National Assembly, because the issue of electing political leaders, it's just that our constitution don't have the provision for a referendum. In other countries where the constitutions have provision for referendum, it's good to have a referendum. Probably it's better for the vice president, for you to qualify to run for the primaries as a governorship candidate, you should run with your deputy.
All right, to shed some light on that submission by former President Goodluck Jonathan, we've got Simon Achuba, former Deputy Governor of Kogi State. He joins us this morning. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program. But just before you proceed, because that recommendation from the former president, there was also that about the VPs, deputies, saying their roles really neither here nor there. As a matter of fact, let's even just go to the laws and see what it stipulates. The 1999 Constitution, Section 193 there was talking about the executive responsibilities of deputy governor and commissioner. For instance, it says in sub 1, the governor of a state may, in his discretion, assign to the deputy governor or any commissioner of the government of the state responsibility for any business of the government of that state, including the administration of any department of government. So similar scenarios for the vice presidents. They can't do anything unless otherwise directed by the president. Now, this recommendation that came through yesterday, what should we make of it? Mr. Achuba.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. The former president actually came up with this position based on his experience and what he went through as a deputy governor and probably as a vice president before becoming a president. In the actual sense, the position of the Constitution is not wrong. It is the mindset of the operators of the Constitution, maybe the governors, the president, the chairman of the local government, as the case may be, that are actually using it in a manner that is not very nice. The president, the governor, and the chairman of a local government, with their deputies, have the same function. And actually, they are supposed to work as a team to make sure that the best is delivered. But looking at the development so far, from 1999 to this day, I think it is important to agree with the former President Goodluck Jonathan that there is a need to carve out responsibilities to vice president, deputy governors, and vice chairmen of local councils so that they can act based on the provisions of the Constitution. Most times, without reason, there always come rifts between vice president and the president, the governor and the deputies, without reasons. Because the people around, maybe the president, or the people around the governor or the chairman of a local government begins to feed them with information that are not very correct. And they act on it and take decisions that are not in the interest of the people they are leading. And I agree entirely that, yes, deputies should jointly contest primaries or separately as the case may be. But let it be known from the beginning of the primary that these are the two people that are going to work together, and not when after an individual has won his election, he has the right to choose his brother to become his deputy and all that. That decision should be reviewed, in my own opinion.
But Mr. Achuba,
the deputies too, I would suggest, should be given.
Yeah, just before you proceed, I mean, what is this recommendation seeking to cure? I mean, how is that going to impact governance?
Well, what it will do is that it will make each person concentrate on that area where he is empowered to act, to avoid conflict of instruction or not even given any responsibility at all. Wherein there are circumstances where a governor will be traveling, he does not transmit power, and responsibilities that are vested probably in the office of the deputy governor is given to a commissioner or a special advisor, just as the governor wants. So these are the things that brings about the conflict, which the former president is looking at and suggesting that there should be some constitutional amendment to bring about peaceful coexistence within the body.
Yes, so some people might understand and appreciate recommendations that there should be constitutional roles for deputy governors, vice presidents. However, when the former president says that a deputy governor should also run a primary, I really wonder what difference that makes. How does running a primary separate from that of the governorship primary affect any role that a deputy governor is given?
Well, running a primary, what is settled first is the acceptability of that individual to be the deputy governor, as the case may be, or the vice president, or the vice chairman of the local government. And while running, he will now be able to mention how he's going to handle responsibilities that are assigned to him. You'll be able to handle, and his performance can even be distinctively measured as a deputy governor with respect to responsibilities that are assigned to him. So when that is done, it creates that friction and probably a healthy competition. Probably if the governor is not doing well in his areas of assignment, and you see the deputy moving forward, I think it will challenge the governor to pick up. Or vice versa, if the governor is not doing well.
I'm listening to you and I can't help but chuckle because, you already say that oftentimes problems just crop up owing to misinformation given by people around deputy governor and governor. But when you now begin to say that, if a deputy governor is not doing well or is doing well, it might challenge the governor to do better. These kinds of things are certainly recipes for even further, let's say, disasters, as the case might be, from what I can see. And in any case, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, I think that there is a ruling on that says that the ticket of both a governor and that of his deputy is one ticket. It is joined together. And so oftentimes, whatever happens to a deputy governor oftentimes happens to the governor. For instance, what happened to the, the governor of Bayelsa State, who was never sworn in. He was never sworn in. I'm trying to remember his name now. As a result of a fault with the ticket or with the certificate, of his deputy governorship candidate. How is that Supreme Court ruling for you going to have any, what implication does it have on this suggestion that is being put forward?
Yes, the Supreme Court ruling is very correct as it relates to the current position of the Constitution. It's very, very correct. But what we are talking about is a possible amendment in the future and how it can be. So it cannot, what we are saying does not agree with the current position of the Constitution. What we are asking or suggesting is that there should be a constitutional amendment conceding these roles.
If that is the case, some people will argue that if you then separate the ticket, you could also have a situation whereby the governorship candidate of a party comes from one party and the deputy governorship candidate comes from another party. Couldn't that also be a proposal? I mean, given what it is that we're already beginning to consider.
No, it would be like that. The fact is, the primaries are in the parties and are not like now. If in state A, the governorship candidate who wins in party A, and then the deputy governorship candidate who wins in party A becomes the governor and the deputy governor. That's how it goes, and not that somebody in another party becomes the deputy governor. No, it can't work like that. Because they have party manifesto to use in fulfilling the promises of to the people.
Just backtrack a bit to get a sense of how running mates or deputies in this case are actually selected. So help us understand, what are the factors that come to play when selecting your deputy or running mate? Because I would imagine it's going to be a personal decision based on your workability, compatibility, or how well you can work with that person. And naturally, that should be someone who you are maybe friends with, someone you are comfortable with. But over time, we've seen that that's not the case. So what are the factors really responsible when it comes to politics now, not what we hear outside, in the political space, within the parties, in selecting a deputy?
Hello?
Yes, did you get that? Okay.
Yes, as it is now by the provisions of the Constitution, it is the responsibility of the candidate to select his deputy. And as I said earlier, it is within his discretion, even to choose his brother or another, whoever he wants. And whoever he picks and he presents is acceptable to all, whether they like it or not. But what we are suggesting, and what I think the former president is saying, is that roles should be assigned to deputy governors more than what it is today. Like what the Constitution has now, the boundary commission is under the deputy governors. But even where you have such defined roles, in some states, it is taken away from the deputy governor. You see an essay, playing the role of the deputy governor, which is not very correct. So when distinctively these items are listed, maybe through a constitutional amendment, you will see that each person will have a role to play.
All right.
So working as a synergy, as two people elected, cannot be avoided in any case. It cannot. They must have to work together. And
right.
What I look at most.
Okay, let me just come in quickly. You can land at that point when.
Working. Once there's that maturity, that's even.
Okay, pardon me. Looks like we're having connection issues, but let me just put this in because of time. So you say that workability or compatibility comes to play, but we've heard cases where the party will tell you, well, because so we can have some sort of agreement here, you need to select this person if you want our support. And we have some sort of reward for the party structure, the leadership structure of the party, or the big wigs, as they say, in the party. But practically speaking now, moving forward, because I think this is double-edged, to ensure that there's, better relationship between the principals and their deputies, and ensure that they do more, at least since they are earning, taxpayers' money, they put that to use and do more. What are the specific roles that you think should now be included for deputies moving forward, if it is considered as some sort of constitution review?
Okay. In my opinion, there are certain roles that I feel should be considered to the deputy governors. One is that a deputy governor can be given a ministry, just like a commissioner, to manage. Secondly, the local government and chieftaincy affairs of state should be considered to the deputy governors, because there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of crises in chieftaincy affairs, there are a lot of issues with the local government that the chairman do not have enough time, the governor do not have enough time to attend to. The deputy governors should do that on his behalf to ease the load and make administration of the state a bit easier and smooth.
One of the issues that comes up naturally in my mind as a result of that, which you just said now, Mr. Achuba, is when you say that the deputy governor should be given a ministry to run, a question will be which? Don't also forget that he is deputy governor. Consequently, anything in the event of a need for him to step in for the governor, what happens to that ministry?
No, going to step in does not take much time. You step in and step out as soon as the governor comes. So it does not disturb the flow of the deputy reaching out to the ministry or overseeing the ministry effectively.
Okay,
well, it does not.
Okay, in
from
the
my experience.
Okay,
and hello.
Go ahead.
In Kogi, as it were, in 1999, when we came to office in 1999, the local government and chieftaincy affair was basically under the deputy governor of the state. It was there, and it was very smooth because the deputy governor then had time to attend to local matters and chieftaincy matters, and it was very good. And it was Dr. Philip Salau that was the deputy governor then, and it was properly defined, and it was good enough. It was very smooth.
All right, so Mr. Simon Achuba, we thank you very much indeed for your perspective today. He's the former deputy governor of Kogi State.